But the look also said, "Don't squander it. Write something worthy and practical. Write a plant book." In 2019, what did and did not work between us was now irrelevant. All the ways we had been at odds in life no longer mattered. I needed to understand my mother better, and the only way to do so was in the language she knew best. Given the state of my forgotten first language, Japanese, I chose her second, fluently spoken language, the one she never pushed on me, the wild and green one. This is a plant book made of soil, seed, leaf, and mulch. In 2019, I turned to the small yard outside our house and the plants my mother had woven into my life to bridge a gap between us. The yard was scruffy and overgrown. It belonged to the city, to the bank, and most truly for thousands of years and still to the Michisageg Nishnabeg. With my sleeves rolled and my fingers mingling with the rose-gray earthworms, I set to work. It did not go well, not at first. The garden quickly informed me I did not know plants. I knew only my idea of them, and you cannot grow an idea. The garden said, "This will not work if you are only here for the metaphor." The garden asked me to remember the child I was, a child who loved getting dirty, and to remember that first lesson. Nothing grows if you keep yourself clean, smooth, undisturbed. When I stopped attributing every little plant event to my own doing and realized I did not have control, the opposite of a storyteller's mindset, the plants began to grow. When I remembered that plots are often driven and overturned by underestimated agents, I stopped underestimating. A mother enters a story. But how does she enter? How does she walk across the pages of a book? Does she enter wearing her regret, rage, sadness, or humor? Does she enter boxing away cliches and pushing against containment? Does she enter demanding payment? Does she enter as a gardener? I learned more about my mother's plant passions to feel the events and landscape that passed through her heart, to take stock of what I had failed sufficiently to notice and love, the unseen greens, the hazy scenery of life. I am the sole keeper of my family's stories. What stories? Why stories? She says. Part 1. Daikon, Greater Cold, January to March 2019. The beginning. When my father died and I was still his daughter, in all ways and without question, I began making weekly visits to a public greenhouse. For 7 Mondays, I rode the streetcar across town to warm myself in a glass building full of plants. No one had warned me that hard-hitting losses sometimes take the form of ordinary problems, such as temperature-related discomfort. I had not seen this play out in stories, so I was not prepared for the cold current that entered my body and spread like ice through my veins. I did not know ski gloves and wool fleece would be my morning vestments. For 7 Mondays, I sat with leaves the size of airplane wings under a glistening dome. I basked in winter sunshine, buried myself among the dripping fronds of palms and cycads. The busy trees put on a good show as I folded inward, as the vines tunneled through me, binding the grief. Slow, slow, the leaves and petals moved at a pace I understood. For 7 Mondays after my father died, I came to this glass church to sit with the plants and feel their deep sweat. It now occurs to me with some curiosity and a little sadness that people, particularly the faithless and those without reliable rituals, grieve in unusual places, and that these places are not always so obvious. We all have ideas about what happens after a loved one dies, but these ideas are often wrong, or at least incomplete, because everyone has a different grief, and therefore a different bereaved state of being.